I don't know if I can ever say I had a mentor.
Sure.
However, when I was very young in Philadelphia, my uncle was a painter. It wasn't his full-time job. He wasn't doing it professionally, but he was a painter. And so sitting in his studio, we were 8 years old, watching him paint, that kind of made me want to start creating stuff and do my own thing. Yeah. And he stopped painting probably while I was a teenager. And so when I went over his places, there was all these unfinished canvases and stuff like that. And he was also, I actually kind of appreciate this. He was a very low rent painter. Like he wouldn't go buy canvases. He would go to the junkyard, buy pieces of wood that he would find wicked cheap and just paint on those. And so after he passed a few years ago, I had to go back into his studio and start going through his things. Okay, we can get rid of this. I found his files of all his rejection letters, which I kept. I was like, keep you humble. Here's what Bob went through. That, and then the reason I started doing comics was because when I was working at the comic book shop in Philly, I was always like, I should do a comic about this. I should do a comic about this. And it was my coworkers who are friends of mine. I'm still friends with them. They kind of like, just do it. Like, just do it. Why do you keep talking? Just do it. And a friend of mine who actually was doing a comic at the time said, hey, if you do a comic, I'll include it in my comic. And that was my first published work. It wasn't very good, but it was my first published work. And that kind of put me on the road. As for like, other things, like people that I admire and stuff like that, the first name that springs to mind is Evan Dorkin. I was growing up with his work and his kind of like punk rock, Milk and Cheese and Pirate Core and all that, Hectic Planet and all that. I adored that. And basically, that was my first entry because before that, I was reading, like everyone else, I was reading X-Men. Yeah. And that was my start of reading, getting into the indie world, which led to Love and Rockets, 8 Ball, and all that.